So, hey, Storm Freaks, it's Phil. Welcome to episode 201. We are starting off the next 100 episodes with a first-time guest on the show, legendary TV chief meteorologist Alan Seals out of Mobile, Alabama is going to be joining us. We've also got our hashtag Weather Fools. And what's our second item we're doing? Oh, we're doing Chasers Gone Wild. So a great game clip coming up. All on Stormfront Freaks Live!
Going green. Greenwich. Saddle them up. You got it, boss.
So welcome to the most entertaining weather show. This is Stormfront Freaks Live, and I want to do a special shout out and thanks to our Patreon members. You'll see them scrolling across the bottom of the screen. But we also have a new Patreon member, Jody Harris. So Jody, welcome to the team. You can also join our team, get access to our exclusive Facebook group with over 50 of our past guests on that. The other thing I want to bring up with this exclusive Facebook group while we got our team on here right now. So Greg, you just put a post on the other day that if they did a movie of the Stormfront Freaks, like
I'm writing it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who would play who? So I go through what you remember of who's who.
Well, listen, I the easy one was you as being played by Vin Diesel. I think everyone
That
saw
was
that
awesome.
one. Saw that one coming. I had Dana Scully from X-Files is going to play Dina.
I'll take that.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty. And I mean,
Yeah, it's
listen,
good.
it makes the most sense. Ryan Reynolds is going to play me, and I think everyone saw that one.
So I do want to say this because I'm like, I got to figure out really a better actor for Greg because I think he maybe shot the moon a little bit on his representation. So I want to get your guys' feedback, and this is legit. I'm really not kidding too much. But what about Joaquin Phoenix? What do you think?
I haven't seen him with that
glasses on
hairdo
him. Yeah.
before, but you know what? Not bad. Not bad. Yeah.
Put some glasses on that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Greggles, you are a joker. So.
I kind of am.
That's
I
a
kinda
good
am.
one.
So anyway, that was kind of cool. Something Greg put on there, and that's exclusive to our Patreon members that have access to that. We also have a number of tiers, including some with exclusive merchandise that will be a part of. We're going to actually do after the show tonight. We're going to do a drawing. It's our 200th episode gift package, and I'll share this with everybody. So anybody in our EF5 or hurricane level tiers will be put in a drawing. And Greg donated some Tornado Hunter gear. We got a baseball cap. We have a coffee tumbler and a T-shirt to be included there. Serena
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
donated one of her books, The Weather Story. But what's cool about this is it's signed by Pecos Hank Shima, Janice Dean, Serena herself, and Reed Timmer.
Right on.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
that's pretty cool. We've got a Got Wind sticker from Mount Washington included with that. And then the good folks at Midland Radio also donated an ER40 emergency crank radio. So one of our lucky Patreon members are going to get that tonight. So
But did Greg wear the shirt first?
I don't know.
I just rubbed it on my armpits,
rub it
and then
on a
I
little
just
bit?
that's all
Yeah.
I did there. Yeah.
that could go either way. But I'll tell you what, you can help support the show for as little as $5 a month with Patreon, and you can find out details at stormfrontfreaks.com. The other thing I want to bring up is the National Storm Chaser Summit, which is coming up in February. It's actually sold out. They've sold over 450 tickets to that thing down in Texas. It's going to be an amazing event. They got great speakers. But if you are registered, there's also an opportunity for a golf scramble that's being put on. Reed Timmer's helping to host that. So there's a golf scramble. It's going to be Friday morning, 8 a.m., February 2nd. So it's at the Summit's Marriott Hotel. It's just $55, and you can smack that little ball around the links with some other fellow storm chasers and meteorologists. Just visit chasersummit.com/golf. And you can register. I do know those spots are running out as well, so do that quickly if you'd like. All right, one of my favorite parts of the show is it's always happy hour every time we record, and it's a great way to not only introduce the co-hosts that are with us tonight, put a voice to the name, but it also gives us a chance to let you know we like to have fun. We don't get too sciencey on this show. We just like good stories and good education, and that's what it's all about. So I'm going to go around the horn. We'll find out who's here. I'm going to start with Dina Knightley, our meteorologist and weather producer at weather.com. Dina, what are you drinking?
Guess what I got?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, nice.
Beer, Post
Yes.
Brewing. I got.
That's a big
I
one.
actually got them home.
Good for
They
you.
didn't
Yay.
explode. I have 4. I'll be drinking up. I'm excited.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm drinking with you as well, Dina.
Nice.
Very nice. All right, Serena Arnold, you made it. You're in one piece after your skiing tournament or
I
league
know.
or whatever you do, your windburn. But she's our meteorologist and author. What are you drinking, Serena?
You know what? I came back and I very quickly made a hot chocolate because it's a beer league. So you have 10:30 p.m. Serena at 9 p.m. tonight.
Nice. So it's a beer league. So you drink and ski?
Yes.
How did I not ever get into that?
Yes. Yes. I think you
I
can still see
can't-
the
I
goggle
can't
marks
believe-
on my face.
I can't believe you crashed last time.
There was that time last year I crashed. Like I almost thought I broke my arm.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
awesome tonight. I killed it. I've got my hot cocoa, though. I'm so excited about those frosted Stormfront Freaks, man. They're good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That was a good deal.
Yeah.
Good deal, Serena. All right. We also got Mark Maz Massaro, our former on-camera meteorologist. Maz, what do you got?
I get wine, invisible wine. It looks like
That's
it's
cool.
coming and going as we speak. And you said science-y, and that's why we drink, isn't it? Because of all the science.
Yeah,
Just saying.
All the
It
math
helps.
we had to take.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
it helps. All right, Greg Johnson, our storm chaser and photographer. Greg, what are you warming up with?
I'm kind of drinking a gin and juice thing. We're sitting at minus 25 right now outside. So I was actually trying to find an umbrella to put in this, make myself feel warm. But
Feel like you're
that's
in
what
a
I'm drinking
tropical-
tonight. A little bit of gin.
Sounds
Very nice.
lovely.
It does.
All right, we got MJ in the back running the show in the green room. He's hanging out with our VIPs. We got Dan back there right now. So I am going to, though, turn it over, Serena, to you because we have an amazing guest tonight.
Yes, we do. We have a super amazing guest, and it's pretty awesome to see that we've got somebody who's also close to retirement. Alan Seals, a mainstay of mobile television for nearly 25 years as a meteorologist at WKRG and WPMI, will retire from the airwaves this month. We're so lucky to have you. Seals was a fixture of WKRG for over 20 years, where he was chief meteorologist before his departure in 2019. And in November 2019, Seals returned to the mobile airwaves, joining WPMI as chief meteorologist. Besides his work in Mobile, Seals' other high-profile television jobs included stints at NBC, WGN Chicago, WTMJ TV Radio in Milwaukee. Oh my goodness. So the first question that I have right off the bat for you, having done a tiny bit of TV myself, what is it that you're going to miss the most when this retirement comes along?
Well, the retirement actually was 2 Fridays ago. And
Oh,
the
wow.
thing,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Well, the thing I miss most is the paycheck.
I love that he's honest.
Real, man.
Yeah.
Real.
Clothing
No.
allowance.
Well, don't misunderstand me. I loved what I did,
Yeah.
and I'm still doing most of it. I'm still out in the community, visiting schools, doing weather-related legal consulting, writing books, writing articles, teaching. But I did it in total for almost 37 years. And as you can
Wow.
imagine, as I was telling my students today, when I was a kid, our TV was black and white. It wasn't until I was a teenager we got colored TV. So things have changed so much in the TV broadcast industry that I'll miss people. I mean, it's always about people, but it's the people in the community in which I'm staying that are still here, and I'm still a part of that. So it's not much that I'm going to miss.
Do you have
What
a
about the
nickname?
hours?
Yeah, hours. Yeah.
What about the hours? And have you changed your hours since you've retired? Are you still like, oh no, I still
I'm still pretty much that same schedule. So keep in mind, it was Friday, January 5th. That was my last work day. On Monday, the following Monday, we had our first real severe weather outbreak in
Oh,
like 6 or 8 months.
Oh wow.
I did not watch TV.
Whoa.
Did
We
you just
ended up
enjoy
with,
it? Did
like-
you enjoy the severe weather?
Well, yes and no. We ended up with 8 uh, EF0, EF1 tornadoes in our area. They were all brief, all small. It was like middle of the night, and I was up on my normal sleep schedule, but I was finishing up the audio version of one of my books. So I had my GR level 3 running on one side of the computer and my audio editor on the other. And every now and then I'm watching the radar. But the coolest thing was I was, unlike when you're on TV, and you know this, you can see things on radar that you can't see when you're on TV, because when you're on TV, you're multitasking and you miss things. But I didn't feel the urge to watch TV because, of course, I'm a meteorologist.
Tell
were
us
you
about.
doing a drink a beer every tornado warning?
Nope.
Tell us about the book. You said you're recording an audio version. Like, listen, as a guy who's has a couple books, like they're photo books,
Mhm.
the audio version really sucks. I'm just gonna say that. But tell us about your book and what it's about and where to find it and all those kind of good things.
Okay. We'll start with there are 3 of them. And my first advice is never do 3 books at the same time, which is what I did.
wow.
I started them
man.
all during COVID. It hit me that I had compiled so much information from writing articles, contributing to books, answering kids' questions. I answered like 3 dozen questions to kids at my old high school by mail, so I had to write them out. So I had all this information and I compiled it and realized that I easily had like a 400 or 500 page book. And again, we're talking over 37 years. I showed it to a local book publisher and he raised his eyebrows when I said a book. And then I realized it was 2 books. So one book is focusing on my career. So it is called A Career in TV Meteorology
Nice.
by the
Awesome.
best weatherman ever, according to the internet. That's what I went viral. So this
That's
one,
great.
this is all
This
about
is
TV news broadcasting. And while I'm talking, I'll put that up there for anyone who wants to scan it. It's about, especially for young folks who want to get into TV or anyone who wants to have a career, a standard career, which a lot of those don't exist anymore. It's all the ins and outs of what you need to do, what you need to be prepared for. Of course, you have to know what you're doing. You have to have the passion for it. But I have a lot of quotes from those nasty emails and tweets and things that people have said
Trolls.
about me when I interrupted the program for a tornado warning. So all of that's in there, the good, the bad. Not a lot of the ugly, which that could be a whole separate book. If I were just to write down,
That's tonight. That's tonight.
but I didn't mention people's names who were ugly to me, like a few former managers. But
We
people
like
know
the
who they
name.
are.
We call
Ooh.
their moms.
Yeah, we are 100% comfortable on this show, Alan, calling people out who are
Yes.
jackasses to other people, right?
We
like,
are.
Yeah.
like jackasses have a special place on this show, and we call them weather fools. And we actually have a segment called Trollbot, which maybe Phil will speak to, and we would love to get some of yours. It could be good potential Trollbot.
Well, I have
Fodder.
a couple on my phone I might play for you.
And I'm really sorry though of all those emails I sent you. I apologize.
You're the one.
Just apologize.
The second book I did is, I call it a weather for smart people book. And it truly is weather from
I'm out.
A to Z. It's all the things that the public will ask us about: lightning, which way does it go? How do hurricanes form? What about climate change? So that was the one I was finishing the audio version on. And for those of you contemplating doing a book, let me tell you, writing a book is not hard. Selling it is hard. And I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing it just because I have all these things in my head and I want to get them out. But money is always nice. But the hardest part is the audiobook. The second book that I did, the average read rate puts it at like 7 hours if you read straight through. So for every hour of the audio, it takes 2 hours to record it. And I did that. And if you're a semi-perfectionist like me, it will take you 8 to 10 hours per hour to edit. So in other words, this book I've put well over
Wow.
100 hours into it.
So you're
it's-
narrating it, editing it, and doing all that yourself.
I've always been a do-it-yourselfer. Yep.
Wow.
Give
That's
yourself a
then-
raise,
incredible
would
work.
you?
Yeah,
Thank you.
really.
And then the third book, while we're at it, this is my
photos.
weather photo book. Now, this was the first one I started, which is really cool. I've been taking pictures since 5th grade. I was actually a high school photo editor, Mount Vernon, New York, in my high school. So we've got halos, we've got cumulonimbus in Bermuda. Everywhere I go, I'm always, I guess if I back that up, it's better. Everywhere I go, I'm always, as you know, looking up. 2 of those pictures back there are mine, Key West.
Beautiful, Alan.
The variety
Wow.
of texture in the sky. A good friend of mine who's a professional photographer said that,
Fall streak, Cole.
there you go.
Yeah, that's very cool
Yeah.
having a fall
He's
streak.
called me an artist, and it took me a while to embrace that, but it does take to catch this lightning shot, which you get for every one you get, you miss like 99. But it
Thousand.
takes, it takes being at the right place at the right time, which is where the meteorology comes into play, knowing which lens to use, what shutter speed to use. So it's a lot of the technical stuff that goes into the art. And then, of course, the art helps me with the science. So, okay, enough rambling. Ask me more questions. Oh,
All right, I have one for
so
you.
as you saw on the QR code, Alan Seals weather, Alan Seals author.com.
Oh, there we go.
Great.
Nice.
Yeah, I
I
have 2
scanned it.
websites.
Yeah.
There
I
you go.
already did it.
Yes.
I'm excited to take a look at it. These books look great.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, so that link will take you to Amazon where you can purchase them. And what
As
I
long as
mentioned
they're on
earlier.
Amazon, everybody can get them.
Yes, and locally I am doing book signings here and there now and then wherever I can. Okay,
Oh.
hit me. Questions.
All right, Alan, I got one for you because you've had such a great longevity in this field.
Mhm.
And there's people who don't stay for 2 years, let alone 20.
Yeah.
So I guess like I always like to ask people like, what's the key? Like, do you have the secret sauce? Like you have such a great, in just a few minutes of talking, you have such a great and personable rapport about you, but like TV can be brutal and
It
not just
is.
from viewers, from internally. So what do you think really helped you with your longevity?
Wow. I think it's just me mostly, my personality. I'm laid back. I know that no matter how bad things get, they will get better in life and in job. I have my passion for weather is really high and I love sharing it. And that part has always buoyed me. Whenever things have gone down, I just go out and speak to a bunch of kids and all of a sudden I'm excited again about what I do to get the genuine enthusiasm and curiosity about how the atmosphere works. Thick skin, thick skin. I'm a New Yorker and without the accent, I lost the accent. I can still talk like a New Yorker if I have to. But
Nice.
growing up, one thing that's common in New York and probably most big cities is just like when I watch the squirrels play and wrestle out the window. As children, especially boys, you wrestle, you joust. I'm the youngest of 4 sons, so we would always play fight. Now, I never really tried to play fight because all my brothers were much bigger than I was. But you learn how to develop a thick skin where you purposely, some of the games you play are calling someone the worst thing you could ever think of, who's a friend of yours, and you just go back and forth. But the end of the bottom line is no matter what people say to you and do to you, you know and need to know that you're a good person, no matter what. No one can take that from you. So all of that together, I think, is what has helped me thrive and continue to keep looking up. And speaking of dirt, so I mentioned
That's a good segue. I like it.
Yeah, I like that.
It's also our title now.
Some of the things in the book, for example, at the end of when I started in Albany, Georgia, worked in Milwaukee, met my wife. She fell in love with me. I married her. It worked out fine many years ago. But after the end of a second contract, a new news director came in and offered me a salary reduction, and I declined. And my wife and I had just gotten married, and she supported it. And shortly after that, I started at WGN because I had been applying for jobs for months and months, and WGN just happened to have an opening at the second time I applied, and I was hired within 2 weeks. But the bottom line is I started learning about job politics, and it had nothing to do with me. It had all to do with the budget, that the new news director had to save money quickly, and my contract was up. I was the lowest on the team, so I was an easy target. And then when I got to Chicago, I learned more and more about job politics, about the backstabbing and the near nepotism. After I left WGN, the story that some people will remember, I went to the NBC station and I was there as a weather producer. And that's the station that tried to hire Jerry Springer for the 10 o'clock news.
Oh, no way.
That one, yes, that
Wow.
one, to do commentary on the 10 o'clock news. So needless to say, the station imploded. There was a complete change in management and a complete change in news staff. And I was one who got changed out, which was okay with me at the time. But yeah, there were so many incidents of next question.
I feel you. That's why I said
Reliving
the
it.
internal.
I've got one. I've got one for you, Alan. So
Yeah.
you know, in a long career, you're down near the Gulf Coast, or you're basically on the Gulf Coast. What's been the sort of like the Hurricane Andrew moment for you? What was your, for lack of a better term, what was your big one? What was the big story? What was the big storm?
Well, the first one was Hurricane Ivan, and then it was Hurricane Katrina, which was 2004 and 2005. And what's interesting for me about it is I grew up in the North, went to Cornell undergrad, so snow belt, went to Florida State for grad school. And when I was at Florida State, I did a synoptic program, so I didn't really focus on tropical. Moving to Mobile in 1999 was really my first tropical experience, even though I lived in Tallahassee for a couple of years. So I learned a lot quickly. And fortunately, by the time Ivan had come around 5 years after I moved here, I'd gone to a lot of conferences and just really learned a lot on my own to supplement what I had learned, as a student. But Ivan, I tell young meteorologists that Ivan and Katrina, it's like the Super Bowl. But to the viewer, not in a good way. I mean, to the community, it's not in a good sense. Also, I would tell people that a hurricane is like a blind date, but not in a good sense, because you have no idea what you're getting into. And Ivan was one of those storms that you use every skill you have, both as a forecaster and as a communicator. And people to this day, people will still tell me, we had no power. We were scared. All we heard was your voice guiding us through the storm. And you explained how we could see the Milky Way because no one had power. Once the storm went by, people got out and looked. So that was definitely the storm. And it's something that while you're doing it, you don't think of it. You just do what you need to do. So Ivan was the big one, and Katrina was right behind.
And are there, in that process, you're on camera, you're looking at radar, you probably got somebody talking in your ear, and they're updating you with something else that tragic that's happening. Are there, do you feel the fear that that you would expect somebody who would be on the ground to be feeling, even though you're in the studio? No,
in the studio, you're insulated. Literally and
right.
Socially, and in every sense, you're in a building that is quiet relatively. You have air conditioning, you have electricity. You can hear the wind. The studio is pretty far from the coastline, so we didn't get the highest impact. But you're always, I tell people, it's like when you watch people out in public holding their phones, shooting video of danger coming right at them, whether it's a speeding car, they're looking at that screen and they're thinking, oh, I'm watching this on a screen, even though the screen is showing you what's happening right in front of you. Yeah. And that's sort of the, I guess, subconscious way of approaching it. Consciously, though, my mission and my focus is give people what they need right now, knowing that there's going to be tragedy, knowing that there's going to be death. And no matter what happens, you have to keep going. I guess a better answer to that question, with Ivan, we didn't really find out a lot about the deaths until the next day. So that part didn't come in real time. But I do remember sitting on the set, and up until that point, because everyone in the station is there, it's like, hey, it's a party. The morning crew's here, the evening crew's here. I haven't seen them forever. And then we started hearing about the deaths, and you could see the moods change. I mean, everybody got somber and quiet. There was an incident, Leakesville, Mississippi tornado, which crossed into Washington County, Alabama, my viewing area. And that was one of the few tornadoes since I've been here that actually took lives. Tornado fatalities are rare right on the Gulf Coast, Mobile and Baldwin counties, because we get EF0s and EF1s. But in any event, I remember I was on air when it came in, and I had to pause and literally just take a couple of seconds to recompose myself and just keep going. And that's all you can do. It's going to happen, and you do have to prepare for it.
Thank you.
Take me back to your first day, because I know there's all kinds of things you remember, but almost everybody remembers their first day on camera live. Tell me a little bit about that, and then tell me how like the last day was and how much things had changed.
Okay.
Wow, that's a good one.
So first day was Albany, Georgia, WALB TV, Channel 10, 1987. It was 2 weeks after I graduated with my master's degree. And it was the weekend. I did weekend meteorology. During the week, I was a news photographer and a video editor and sometimes a reporter. And I also worked with Terry Smith, who was at the Weather Channel. She was one of those who supported me a lot there. Nervous but excited. I don't remember a lot of it other than the part that shows up on my video clips, which is I was really nervous until in that interaction with the news anchor, when the anchor introduces you, and we've got Alan Seals here. He's a Florida State graduate. He's going to do the weather now. And I just didn't know what to say or what to do or where to look. But once I got in that chroma key, I just went with it. And what was unique about my career, I guess, versus most broadcast meteorologists is, as an undergrad, I knew that was going to be my focus, TV meteorology. So I majored in meteorology, minored in communications, minored in partying. Cornell's a party school. People don't know that. And when I got to Florida State, I also majored in meteorology and minored in communication. So I taught intro to meteorology for non-majors as a teaching assistantship. And Florida State at the time had been building a broadcast meteorology department or area, and we had classes. So I did a lot of practicing for the 2 years I was there. So when my first job, I think I was ahead of where most people would be because I spent 2 years practicing and teaching. But yeah, once I got into it, so at that time the chroma key wall was blue, so I couldn't wear blue. The lighting was really harsh, 2 or 3 main lights with harsh shadows on your face. The remote for the computer, it was a computer. It had 16 colors. The computer remote had a wire. Your microphone had a wire. So you have to move very carefully when you're trying to turn and point. At that point, oh boy. Yeah, we did have basic satellite and radar, but you had to dial up on a modem to download one image of the satellite.
Wow.
There was no radar loop. There was no satellite loop. All the temperature data, I believe, was manually typed in and manually placed on the 16 color map.
Did you have magnets?
No, unfortunately, I came after the magnet. So it was chroma key in 1987.
It was the Commodore 64, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's what we record this show on.
Oldie but a goodie. But yeah, it's amazing from there to get to Milwaukee. By then, the weather computers, computers in general, I mean, they exploded in power. So when I got to Milwaukee, I think we had the Liveline 4, and the Liveline 4 had millions of colors. How about that? So you didn't have to to get a certain color. You didn't have to get rid of another one. You could start adding. Let's see. Printer maps, paper maps, those big paper maps that were wet when they came out. Yes, those.
Yep.
So we had those. You'd hang them on the wall, and you would hand analyze with colored pencils and pens, markers. And then I guess the next big change was when I got to WGN in 1992. That's when I think it was Cavoris first came out with the 3D satellite where you can fly down. You had to render it out frame by frame. And to get like a 10-second animation, it took 30 to 40 minutes to render it. So if you messed up your start and end points, you're out of luck. That was a big deal. The mid 90s, I remember in Chicago, just before I got to WMAQ, they got lightning, real-time lightning. And when they started it, each one, if you remember the game Pong, one of the early video games, Pong, each thing made a sound, beep, beep. So on the lightning strikes, you would hear beep, 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 and people went nuts. They hated that. So the station turned the sound off on those. And then around that same time, the internet took off. Shortly thereafter, iPhones, smartphones, web cameras, virtual sets, you name it. It's just, boy. As I told my students today, it is so, if you work at a TV station and you have, where I teach at the University of South Alabama, they have a Barron's weather computer. There is so much in it that is automated that if you didn't want to, you wouldn't have to do anything other than choose some maps, put them in a sequence, and go in front of them and talk about them. So that's where we've come to.
Well, I'll tell you what, I know, Alan, you've had a big history in the AMS as well. And I just want everybody to know you can join now the American Meteorological Society's Weather Band, which is a amazing little kind of offshoot and a part of AMS. Just go to amsweatherband.org because you can connect with weather enthusiasts all over the world. Plus, they've got over 10,000 members, a part of the AMS that you can connect with. You can swap stories and data, join photo contests and interactive webinars, or test your trivia knowledge. So kind of a lot of cool stuff on here. Join me, and you can become a full member for just $12 a year, which makes it a no-brainer, right, to kind of be a part of this and have these kind of resources. And don't forget to join the Weather Band's February 29th and March 1st Jamposium, which is from noon to 4. It's their annual virtual kind of symposium they have online, as requested by Weather Band members. We'll cover topics from climate change and severe weather to science communication, citizen science, and I know everyone's getting excited about the upcoming April 2024 total solar eclipse. So they're going to have a cool part on there. So just go to amsweatherband.org and you can get started and join us. So we're going to take a short break, and we're going to be right back with more from Alan, so stay tuned.
Don't miss Vintage Stormfront Freaks.
This one here, we do have a few dents in the new Suburban, but my truck, that hood's a trophy.
You might as well put 2 GoPros on there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What it looks like.
So I'm like, I'm going to drive this thing into a tornado, and then they all start laughing.
Good. You'll be the only sober one by the end of the night.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
All right, so we're back with Alan Seals, and Alan, you know, something that I've always been passionate about is exposing weather, meteorology, storm chasing, all those aspects, exposing that to Did I say exposing kind of strange and funny?
You
I'm
made Greg
sorry.
and I sweat
Broke
there.
out into it.
Yeah.
I'm just glad where you took that, Phil. I didn't know
Yeah.
where we
Yeah,
were
yeah.
going.
We were
on
wondering
that.
where the show was going.
Making it available to a lot of people.
Right.
And I'll tell you this, because we've now done over 200 episodes, but we have had, because the industry, there's just not as many minorities in the weather community. Now, whether it's meteorologists, researchers, even storm chasers, there's not a lot. And the good news is that keeps increasing, and I love seeing that, and I love being able to give an opportunity for everybody to understand that and see everybody that can be in this community and make it far more diverse. So my question to you is, because you are an educator as well, what are some of the things that you've thought about, as a Black man in weather, to help make that available, right, to more people and more minorities, and encourage them and say, hey, this can be for everybody.
Right.
What are some of the things you've done, and what are things that people can do to make it better?
Okay. Awesome question. And actually, I'll back up and even start with, how did I get into it? And I got into it the same way as everyone else. That's the bottom line. Just a natural curiosity of how you can have hail in the summertime, how you could have thunder snow in the winter, things that I experienced as a little kid. And fortunately for me, growing up, my parents raised me to know that anything is possible. There may be some obstacles, but if it's what you really want to do, you have to go after it. And growing up, even in New York in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, there was no Black meteorologists that I had known of until like into the 80s. And then we saw Al Roker and Mark McEwen and Spencer Christian. So the first thing I'll tell people is, weather is universal. One of my favorite phrases is, clouds. People are like clouds. We come in different sizes, shapes, colors, and heights, but we're all made of the same thing. And when it comes to weather, it's so universal that, to me, what's just natural is to share that with a wide variety of people. My wife just asked me last week how many schools I visited over my career. And for those of us who work in TV, you keep a list of them because your TV station needs it for their FCC, Federal Communications Commission records. So over 37 years, I've visited, it was over 800 schools.
Wow.
Wow.
And I love it. I still do. And I remember in particular, there were schools in Wisconsin where I went there, and I remember I could tell these were, once you get outside of Milwaukee, there are very few African Americans, especially at that time. And I remember going to schools where I would put money on the fact that I was the first living, breathing Black person that the kids had ever met. And they treated me like a person, as I treat other people like people. And that's the key thing. So that's always been my method, is just to get out there and share weather. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are. I've spoken at youth detention centers. I've spoken at mental health facilities, senior centers, just a graduation for folks getting their GEDs. Just sharing the weather, doesn't matter who they are. So that's always been my method. Now, I do get, of course, students approaching me saying, I want to do what you do. I want to be like you, whether it's a woman, a male, female, doesn't matter. Yeah. So that's been my method. But definitely, I know the value of being visible, and in particular, to be in the role I'm in. So here's a good example. When I moved to Mobile, my friends in New York, who never really lived out of New York, had the stereotype of the South as the South in the 1960s. Mobile is a very progressive city. We've had a Black mayor. The city's 40% Black. It's international, cosmopolitan for the state. But either way, and just like people in Mobile have the stereotype of New Yorkers, because you never really interact. But once I got here, I got the comments I got from all people, whether it was black or white, is, "We are so happy you're here. This is just what Mobile needed." So a lot of people recognize that history has excluded groups of people from certain positions. And me coming here and being just me, which is all I am, really helped for everyone to see. Because I think one of the biggest problems I see with people, whether it's weather, politics, you name it, if you never interact with a certain class of people, you only have a stereotype about that class of people.
Wow. Yeah.
And there's way too much of that.
So a follow-up question related to Phil's then, do you see now going on 30 years later a change? Are you seeing more kids of color, more kids from different backgrounds getting into the meteorology?
Yes, and it's awesome. You may know Brian Busby in Kansas City, chief meteorologist, African American. He's been chief at KMBC since I think 1988, which is truly historic. I think he's actually the second black degreed meteorologist on TV in the country. Brian's my buddy, and when we used to go to the AMS conferences in the 90s, we would always joke, whoever would see the other one first would say, "Oh, the other black guy's here," because literally it was just the two of us. When I was an undergrad, and this was of course before social media, when I was an undergrad, I did not know of any other African American meteorologists. Once I got to grad school, I met Tom Carney, who had a degree in meteorology. He was African American. And then, of course, I learned of Warren Washington, who may be the first African American with a meteorology or atmospheric science degree in the country, Dr. Washington. So from the 90s, when it was just me and Brian, and we would get together and talk about, well, who else is in the business? And we'd hold up two hands and we'd count. Oh, well, Janice Huff is over here, and David Tillman's over here, G. Norman's over here, and now we can't count anymore, which is good. We've lost track.
Great, yeah.
And the awesome thing is, as you guys travel and as I travel, I turn on the TV and it's like, oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. There's another one. So to me, it's heartwarming, and it's not just me. It's our country as a whole finally learning to accept people for who they are, what they are, rather than putting them into a little box.
Do you find that's the case for like public comments as well? I mean, because we know like when you break down like the male female in broadcast, right? The females are the ones that get the comments about what they wore, but the men don't, right?
Yes.
So how do you find, like, how did that break down for you? How did you find that different as well? And how has that evolved? It seems like you've had a pretty nice experience, generally speaking.
Overall, I've had a really good experience where I've had very few racial or racist comments. Now, when I've interrupted tornado warnings, then there's the subtle.
None of it doesn't matter your race, your sex, your age, nothing. You interrupt Dancing with the Stars, and you're going straight to hell, man. Like,
I'm trying to pull up an audio file right here. Let's see if I can find it. I always keep this.
Is it your ringtone?
No, it's not. Let's see.
It's just always so shocking to hear some of these stories of the way the general public can be. They're not very understanding at times. None of our listeners are that, though. We know we have none of those people involved here.
But it does. I actually do. I keep a long list on my phone for all occasions. I'll try to find the one that I'm thinking of.
Well, we can include it in our show notes if you get it to us afterwards. That'd be kind of.
It's a good list. It's a good list. It's not the list.
Right. But so here's one of the funniest things. When I worked in Albany, Georgia, which is where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was put in jail in the early 60s. I came a generation after that. It was the same thing where people were just so excited to have me there as the first black meteorologist on TV. I didn't have one single racist comment. Now, my coworkers who grew up there, they had a lot because that was their history. That's their neighborhoods. They were out more than I was. And of course, TV does make you the TV person as opposed to whatever other thing you might be. When I moved to Milwaukee, 1988, I was on the air filling in on a weekend, and the news anchor, woman filling in, was also African American. And we got a phone call, and the phone call, I picked it up. Hello, it's Alan Seals. And the man said, "Why do you have those chocolate N-words on the TV right now at the same time?" And I was taken aback. I was like, is this a joke? Is he kidding? And I couldn't really. So I'm a New Yorker, but you learn to always take the high road, respond professionally, because you never know who you're talking to. So I said, "I'm sorry, sir. If you have a problem with our TV, please call back, speak to the boss on Monday." But the man said that he had moved to Milwaukee from Alabama 30 years earlier to get away from black people. He didn't say black people, but that's what he said.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So you go from there in 1992 to 1999, when I moved to Mobile, Alabama, as the first black chief meteorologist. It's ironic, but fitting that you can't run from people, which is also a dumb concept.
No kidding.
Yeah, well, that's the 1%. That's the lower 1%.
Yeah, it is. And just like
you gotta write them off.
Just like when you interrupt TV and you get the tornado warning, people complaining and they become irate. I coined this phrase, remote rage. You've heard of road rage, but there's remote rage when it comes to tornado warnings. Yes. It's people.
Well, there's also something so anonymous these days about being able to hide behind your Twitter handle or your Facebook your Facebook name or whatever, and so it makes people very brave. I would suspect that,
along with alcohol.
Well, that's true. But I mean, like, for example, if you take Phil, for example, I mean,
oh God,
it's easy at a distance to compare him to Vin Diesel. To his face, I would never, Alan, I would never do that. You know, and just like I would imagine that if somebody met you on the street, they're way less likely to say something to your face than they would be if they're able to hide behind a Twitter profile or something like that. Right. It's kind of the sad thing about the times we live in and social media is that ability to be that anonymous.
Yes, it is.
Their rant over.
Greg, those are Bono glasses. I just figured that out.
Hey, everybody. That is the sound. So, Alan, it is time for our lightning round. Right. This is our game show of flashy and brilliant questions. We always get to play with our guests. And tonight, really to kind of honor your retirement, we're playing a game called Joining the Golden Girls. All right, so what I've got is I've got a top 20 list from 2 different decades. So I'm actually going to let you pick the decade, but these are the top 20 best sitcoms from either the 70s or the 80s. So you're recently retired, so these had to have been, golden era sitcom years for you, and it's TV, and you've got a history in TV. Yep. So I'm going to let you pick, first off, 70s or 80s?
70s.
All right, so we're going with the 70s. So this is ranker.com. They've listed out the 20 top sitcoms from the 70s. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through this and I'm going to keep giving you 2 different sitcoms. You have to tell me which one you think was ranked higher.
Okay.
In the top 20 best list. Right, so this is from the 70s. Now, our freaks, they can kind of maybe give you some advice and recommend what they think it might be. I always encourage our guests to maybe not always listen to them because with this crew, you don't always know what you're going to get.
Right.
I trust Alan on this one, man.
But you never really know. So here are the first 2 sitcoms from the 70s. The first one I'm going to give you is Laverne and Shirley and the Brady Bunch. Which one of those 2?
Brady Bunch.
Wow,
Brady Bunch.
You didn't even think about it.
Nice.
Yeah, so Brady Bunch was 10, Laverne and Shirley was 17. We're looking at the Mary Tyler Moore Show or Welcome Back, Kotter.
Oh, boy.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Mr. Kotter.
Well, let's see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Mary Tyler Moore.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, you would be correct. Mary Tyler Moore was 7. Welcome Back, Cotter was 13. All right, here's another one. We've got I Dream of Jeannie or Good Times.
Good Times.
Good times. Good times. That's one of the best sitcom songs. You say Good Times.
Good Times.
You would be incorrect.
Whoa, I'm shocked.
It's like
I Dream of
forecasting the
Jeannie was
weather.
ranked 15th. Good Times
Just
20.
remember, she was pretty. She was pretty and wore her outfit.
Yeah.
Was that
I'm
the show
thinking
though? They
That's
I'm
just where they
thinking
changed the
reruns.
husband, didn't they?
yeah.
Didn't they
yeah,
change
they
the
changed the
husband
husband. They
midstream?
changed
Yeah.
the husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about JJ.
Yeah,
James
I
Evans,
don't like-
though. James Evans was the biggest badass, I think, on TV. That was good. All right, let's go with The Odd Couple or Taxi.
Ooh.
So my problem is I'm thinking reruns and syndication versus first run. Okay.
Well, and you're also thinking there's probably some real rhyme or reason to this top 20 list, and I don't think there really is either, but it's all fun. So Taxi
Odd
or Odd
Couple.
Couple.
Odd Couple. Felix and Oscar.
Oh, I was
Really?
gonna go with that too.
No, Taxi was 5. Odd Couple was 9. Next one, we've got All in the Family or Bewitched.
All in the Family. All in the Family. Right there. Number one show.
Yeah, All in the Family, number 2. Bewitched is the one where they changed
Yeah, you're
husbands,
right,
by
you're
the
right,
way.
you're
Yes.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
right,
Yeah,
right,
'cause,
right.
yeah.
Actors,
Larry
they changed
Hagman.
actors on that one. Okay, next one we've got is MASH or WKRP in Cincinnati.
Has to be MASH.
Ash.
Yeah,
Has
Ash.
to be MASH.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ash.
All right, I'll go with MASH.
You'd be
Yeah.
right.
Thank you.
MASH was number 1, WKRP number 6. All right, here we go. We've got the Jeffersons or Three's Company.
Oh.
Moving on up.
Wheezy.
In first run, Three's Company. The Jeffersons took them in reruns, but Three's Company, I think, was.
Oh.
Jefferson's 11, Three's Company 14. That was close. I kind
That was close.
of made that one hard on you. All right, here we go. We got Barney Miller or the Bob Newhart Show.
Wow.
Ooh.
Darn.
Didn't the Barney Miller Show, wasn't that like a bass, like it laid a bass groove?
Oh,
at the
yeah.
begin-
Really good theme song.
God, some of these
Yeah,
are really good theme songs.
And the also the difference is Barney Miller was funny, and Bob Newhart show was not.
I'll
Bob
go with
was
Bob Newhart.
We'll go with Bob. Yeah, you would be correct.
Nice.
Bob was 8, Barney was 16. All right, so here we go. We've got Mork and Mindy or Sanford and Son, which I would say Sanford and Son probably best theme song. That was.
I would
Yeah,
say
that was a great theme song.
definitely the
That
best
was-
theme song. Yeah, for
Yep,
sure.
Quincy Jones. That was his. See, I got that part right.
Oh, really? That was
Yeah,
Quincy?
Jones wrote it.
No kidding. Oh, no
Nice.
wonder
Really?
it's so good.
No wonder it's good.
Um,
Nanu.
I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go Mork and Mindy, even though Sanford and Son didn't have reruns.
Yeah, you'd be wrong. Sanford and Son 4,
Oh, wow.
Mork and Mindy 19.
Wow.
All right, here's the last one. This one's a hard one. Yeah, I'm ripping off numbers on the top 20, and then I see what my last 2 are. And it's a softball, but it's either Get Smart or Happy Days. Sunday,
Happy
Monday,
Days.
Oh,
Happy Days.
happy days.
It's the fun.
Happy days. Yeah.
I'll use the word Happy Days.
Happy Days. You would be absolutely right.
I won.
Good
I
one.
won.
You would be absolutely right, Alan. That was awesome. Great job.
Great
Thank
You know
job.
your
Really good.
70s. You know
I
your
do.
70s
I was a big
sitcoms.
TV watcher.
Yeah, me
So,
too.
You've talked a little bit about the books, but I guess now that you're not on air, where can people follow you and find you and take a look at all this stuff?
So Facebook is my biggest platform, which is, I think it's Alan Seals Weather. Yeah, it's Alan Seals Weather. I do have a
Get that right.
I have a
Get that right.
YouTube channel. Well, I have Alan Seals Weather on Facebook. I have a website, alanseals.com. My book website is alansealsauthor.com. My YouTube channel is Alan Seals weather.
So Google Alan Seals.
Yeah, if you just Google my name, you'll find it all. But yeah,
it's bad when you don't remember them. You know, we're like,
well, it's like your cell phone
Maz
number.
knows. Maz
Do you
knows
remember
how
your
that
cell phone number?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's awesome. We'll tell you what, we're going to take our final break, but don't forget, you can find Stormfront Freaks merchandise exclusively at helicity.co. So Helicity is the dream store of weather stuff for weather geeks. You've got t-shirts, drink containers. You can shop our entire Stormfront Freaks catalog of logo merch and Weather Fools t-shirts. Just visit helicity.co, the weather superstore for the freak in you. So we're going to be coming right back with some hashtag Weather Fools and our Chaser Gone Wild clips. So stay tuned.
Alan, I'm
All
right with
right.
you, man.
Thank you,
1986 is when I started my first weather, and you were everything you were saying, like, oh, I totally remember, and all the die facts. I had a guy, my first gig, he was my TA in college, and when I got the gig, he threw all the weather maps out. So I was like, how am I going to forecast? I
You
found them in
couldn't
the
read
dumpster.
them. They were
Found 'em in
so
the
blurry.
dumpsters.
Remember how die packs were so blurry?
Yeah.
You couldn't read a station
Yeah.
model plot. It was
Right.
ridiculous.
It was
Yeah.
like, wow.
Alan, who's playing you in the movie, the Stormfront Freaks movie?
So it would have to be Denzel Washington. And the reason why is years after I left Mount Vernon, New York, I learned he lived down the street. He literally lived like 7 houses down across the street. So yeah.
Wow.
He would be like one of the
has
coolest neighbors ever.
Yeah, and he's still going
Yeah, he's a good
strong. I
guy.
just
Yes.
watched the
He's a
last
good
movie
guy.
he was in, the Equalizer 3.
Yeah, right.
That was
He's got the look of network news anchor kind of look about him too.
Yeah.
So, hey, I want to give an opportunity, Alan. First off, if you can do a little soundbite for us and just say, this is retired chief meteorologist Alan Seals, and this is the Stormfront Freaks.
Okay. Should I say this or I'm?
Yeah, whatever you want. Yeah, say whatever. And you don't have to use that title either. Use whatever.
No, that worked.
Use whatever you want and just say, and this is the Stormfront Freaks.
Stormfront Freaks. How many times can you say that fast? Stormfront Freaks. Stormfront Freaks. Okay. I'm retired chief meteorologist Alan Seals, and this is Stormfront Freaks.
Awesome. Perfect. The other thing I want to do is we've got a couple of our VIPs. We always like to give them an opportunity to ask the questions that we always forget.
Oh, yeah.
So Dan's one of our good friends down in Texas. Dan, you got anything for Alan? I kind of set that up, so I hope you got something.
Well, I don't think you all forgot the question, but did you have any mentors as you were like starting out your career?
Yeah. So here's what's cool about how no is the answer, but yes, my mentors were my parents, my brothers, my aunts, my uncles, my bosses, my guidance counselor. But I didn't have a weather mentor. And as much as I knew I wanted to do weather, I did not actually watch TV weather growing up. My role models for communicating weather were George Carlin and Richard Pryor.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
And that's because they
That
were
needs
awesome
explanation.
communicators. Yeah, they're
Okay,
awesome
okay.
communicators. Now, once you take away the X-rated part, which of course on TV, you can't
That's
do
perfect.
that. But the problem, I think, for those of us who go through meteorology programs, you get a dry, boring professor who talks like this and assumes you know everything, versus someone who's going to tell you a story with drama and inflection and then a theme that keeps coming back. And so comedians, to me, have always been the best storytellers, and I've tried to take from them how I deliver weather. I mean, and not necessarily to make it funny, but to make it memorable and interesting.
Great answer.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
That's very good. Anything else, Dan?
Yeah.
No, now you're putting me on the spot.
No, okay. Sorry. I just figured I'd give you an opportunity.
Hey, Greggles, here's that comment in the.
Oh yeah, this was a good one.
Yeah. I met Beckett at the NWA conference in Kansas City.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he actually, it was interesting. He during this last snowstorm earlier this week. I saw he actually went on site, and I assume it was with his mom. Jill was. I asked him who his cameraman was, and he didn't respond. So I assume it was mom. But they were up in Chicago and south of Lake Erie and getting some live on the scene shots. He was amazing. It was great.
Yeah, it's amazing. Not only what when I was a kid, there was no Weather Channel, but between the Weather Channel and now the multiple channels and streaming, that these kids are so much weather savvy, and the device that lets you edit and post, it's like amazing. They little TV stations scattered around the country of Beckett Moores.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Very
awesome.
cool.
So I'll tell you what, we are we're going to jump into our last couple segments. Alan, you are welcome to stick around for another 15 minutes or so if you want to. And now you can be a part of the peanut gallery. So you can comment with quips and whatever else you want, like we
Make
do.
fun of whatever you want.
Incoherent comments that we have. You can do the same. So we're going to start off. So coming out of this, MJ's going to start the Drive Under the Moon video, and then he'll play the Weather Fools video. Greg, unmute yourself and explain Weather Fools. And then MJ, what's the order we're going in here?
So I think I have Serena's first. Let me make sure. Serena, is this one the one? Is that yours?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. So I'll do Serena's first, and then Phil's got 4.
I was gonna say 17.
Yes, 4.
No, I'll say this, gang. So we haven't had Weather Fools for a while.
It's been a long time.
Because we had 200, we didn't do it. 199, the Christmas Twister, we didn't do it. But anyway, I could have done like 10 or 12, but I started with 5, and then Greg took one of mine, so I'm actually down to 4. I don't have the most.
So Serena, then Phil's 4, and Greg, then you're 6.
I have 2. MJ, I had 2.
Nina, I don't think I got
them to you.
Oh, great, crikey.
I sent them actually like Tuesday.
Oh, that might be
Oh,
why.
you sent them early. Well, that's.
I sent them early.
You can't do that.
You know, come on, Dina. Get it together.
They were good.
Oh,
they were like
they
from
are.
Buffalo.
You want to start with those two? Start with those two?
Give me a second here while you're talking.
Well,
While
then
we're talking.
Phil, explain the Storm Chasers Gone
Yeah.
Wild. Just
So just finalize Weather Fools. We'll go Dina, Serena, Phil, Greg. And then Greg finished by saying you can find all the links on episode 201 show notes.
Yep.
On stormfrontfreaks.com. Then MJ will play the Chasers Gone Wild video. Dina, you unmute yourself. Now these are clips from, what's being popular now are these storm chasing video games. And so these are clips of people playing these storm chasing video games together and commenting, but they're just, they're doing just stupid stuff. Like they're driving their vehicles into tornadoes and they're,
So it's the Weather Fools for
storm chasing video games, basically, is what it is. So Chasers Gone Wild. And so then I'll play the video, and while I play the video, you guys can comment on it, and I'll kind of mention what's happening and stuff like that. But it's about a 2-minute little clip that I'll play. And then when that's done, MJ will play the Freak Fan Box. So I've got some Fan Box comments to go through, and we will close it up.
Sweet.
Does that make sense?
Well,
Any
I'm ready.
questions?
So
Did you
are
find
ready?
him, MJ?
got him.
Nice.
Okay.
Do you guys? Do any of you
go-
have Portland ice ones? God, Portland's ice videos this week.
I
Mine are
just started
Buffalo.
getting them, but yeah, I don't have them
Woo.
ready.
Anyway,
I'll
all right.
I'll save them for next time.
Next week.
Yeah.
Portland,
Okay.
Oregon or Portland, Maine?
Oregon.
Oregon.
Where all the ice was.
Yeah.
It's just social media is like video after
Sorry,
video.
I lost
People-
Dan on the screen.
So those of you introducing your segments, don't forget to unmute yourself because the video that plays will mute you, so you can kind of segue in
Got
a
it.
little bit.
Got it.
All right. Dina, Serena, Phil, Greg. That's the order for Weather Fools.
Okay.
Got it.
Are you ready?
We are born
We're
ready.
ready.
Alan, you ready?
All right. So
Ready.
Comment on all this good stuff. This is
So
when the
send
show goes
Dan
downhill, by
out.
the way.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm gonna clear out, and then I will start the video very shortly.
All right.
This is Jennifer Graves, CNN. You're listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast.
Let's take a drive under the moon. Let's take a drive under the somber sky. Let's take a drive under the moon.
Welcome back to the Stormfront Freaks. This is everyone's favorite segment. This is #WeatherFools. This is where we collect across the internet and social media people doing dumb stuff related to the weather. I'm going to stop talking because we got lots of them today. We're going to start off with Dina. You've got a couple. Tell us about your first weather fool.
Well, they're both from Buffalo because, we've been getting Buffalo always gets a bunch of lake effect snow. And it's just the amount of crazy stuff people do in the snow in Buffalo at football games.
So
when did they get this? Like just this
MJ's
past
jumping
weekend?
on here, so keep talking a little bit about it. He's jumping back on with it. So
okay, so a lot of things are at the football games because the Buffalo Bills have been playing, and so they've had to have people come into the stadium and shovel the stadium seats because they can't sit in them. There's been so much snow, and Buffalo is just a fire hose of snow.
Right.
So they come in and they can't walk. There's too much snow, and it's freezing freaking cold. So these guys are like taking off their shirts. They're trudging through the snow. They're sliding. Like there's so much snow that they're actually like just sliding down instead of there being stairs, there's actually snow.
Oh yeah, like a
so
big
they're
slide.
actually like making like slides, snow slides.
I did see these. Was this the kind of chubby guy?
Yes, the one chubby guy.
It's never a skinny guy that does this, right?
Is he there? But he's got his kid. I'm like, I know when you grow up in the snow, you get tough. You get tough with the cold and stuff. I grew up in the snow belt myself, but I mean, you're trudging. This one, the big guy was trudging through the snow trying to find a seat, and it was up to his waist, just about up to his waist. He's got his kid trailing behind him. And I've sat through football games in the cold, and 4 hours of cold, you really get numb. Like,
yeah.
And a lot of times you end up with the flu. I mean, you get sick, and then you gotta then when these guys go and they take their kid and everybody's sick, then as the mom, you gotta hear about it the week.
How do they even clean out the bleachers? When you get like that much snow in your first of all, Buffalo needs like a covered
People do it.
stadium. Okay,
Volunteers.
they get volunteers.
Yeah, but even then, you
they have
if you're
a name
row
for 'em,
triple
a Buffalo
G,
Mafia or something.
you
I
like
forget.
shovel it as hard as you can. It's gonna like go to row F, right? Like,
Yeah, so
I
what
just don't
happened?
get how this works.
This is how they did it in Green Bay, because when I lived near Green Bay, I remember a snowstorm and they were calling out, hey, volunteers, and they pay like $15 an hour. But what they do is they have like chutes down the stairwells, each of the stairwells, and then people have shovels and they just shovel it into the chute.
That's okay.
And
yeah,
all the
they were
snow
sliding
slides down.
there.
Now, I didn't see
So
that
then
at
what do they-
Buffalo.
So what do you do once it gets into still? So then you've got everything from the stadium. Sorry, I'm taking us on a massive detour right now. You
Yeah.
get everything on the stadium, like in the seating. Then it's on the field. Like, how do you move it then?
I'm not even sure.
Then
what
they take
think
loaders.
logistics-
They take loaders and
Loaders,
dump it into
yeah.
trucks.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
get it out of there.
Picture
And then
this.
just chuck it out of there.
Picture.
They need heavy equipment, but for the stadium, for the stairs, they got to do it. But the one, if you could just look at the show notes later, but the slide that I was talking about was the chute that Phil was just mentioning, where they slide it, but the guy took his shirt off. It wasn't like Greg took his shirt off.
And I'm sure he's sober.
Liked it, but it was so funny. Like no shirt, slide down. I'm like, dude, come on, you guys.
Is there eventually going to be a video with this conversation?
We've explained it. Just you can check out the show notes.
Will anyone do a reenactment?
Yeah, right.
MJ's got it. MJ's
Okay,
got it
there
up.
it is.
There we go.
All
So
right,
there's
here we
the
go.
one.
Shirt on.
Like, okay, so there he goes. He's got his kid
Wow,
on
that
that.
is deep.
Oh.
It's
Oh, this is hardcore.
Yeah.
How can you even find your letter row? Oh my God.
I don't know, but it was like ridiculous. And then just being the mom, you're like, now you're taking the kid out there. Everybody's gonna be sick. I mean, it's just it's a bit much. Oh, let's see. This might be
wild.
the other funny one. Oh, just
right.
right
Oh,
down
this
the
looks like
chute.
This looks like mine.
Oh,
This
All
is
right.
my weather
Tell-
full.
well, then
tell
I'm
us
just
about
gonna hand it off.
Serena.
Let's see if this is the one that's mine. So there's two weatherful videos that I am infamous for providing to us. One are people slipping on the ice, which by the way, just
yeah.
Google Portland ice. Social media is littered with those right now. It's just absolutely incredible. The second is weatherfuls when it comes to flood. And so this video that I found is these guys standing by waiting, and the water's coming up against the bridge, and the bridge just disappears. It gets blown off like a bomb went off from the river.
Wow.
And the whole bridge like explodes and takes off. But what happens is after
Stand there
that,
and watch.
more water comes up, and all of a sudden the water starts rising up to these guys, and it's like, get the hell out of here. You do not need to be standing there watching this.
Where
I saw
was this?
Where was
Serena?
this?
I have no idea. I have no idea. But it was. I saw it
One
today,
of those
and I
you
was
need
like,
the translation.
Oh, it looks like
Yeah.
Argentina. I see a hashtag Argentina. in there.
okay. I was like, holy shnikes! I couldn't believe how that bridge just disappeared like there was nothing, and the water that's behind it. Oh my God, get out of there, guys!
Can't
That's when
stop.
you don't understand the power of water.
Right.
Is when you're just standing there and you see that and you're like, oh,
Phil,
maybe-
Phil, I don't think anybody understands
No.
the power of
No.
water.
Right.
Honestly.
Right.
All right, this is another one from you, Serena.
No, I think we're on to
no,
Phil now.
so this is mine. So I call this one Chaser Gone Stupid. But this is from one of our listeners, Luna Light. But here's a storm chaser who turns around in somebody's yard. Like he drives into someone's grass yard right now. He's like turning around in their yard to go after this tornado. And they're just driving in front of people. They're just like, go, 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 not paying attention to anything, no safety, no nothing, and no common decency of people's property.
Nope.
Yeah.
Driving over someone's like septic tank, or like, that's just awful. That's
Kid's
just so
bike.
disrespectful.
Yeah. We
So
see
these
your
are
face.
definite
We see your face,
amateurs.
man.
These are probably like local amateurs that don't know what they're doing. There actually, I think, was a name, but I don't think we'll use it. All right, next one I've got. I think I call this split decision. Here's a guy who's getting out of his car, and as he leaves the car, look at the tree. Gets hit by lightning. Seconds after he leaves his car,
Wow.
lightning
That's
hits that tree and
amazing.
just crushes his car.
Dang.
Wow.
Just
So when,
explodes.
so when anybody asks why don't you want to stand under a tree during a
That's a
thunderstorm,
good.
Wow.
this is the video you want to show them. It just explodes right at the base of the
Nice
front
slow
thunder.
mo.
That
Yeah.
is one of the coolest lightning videos I've seen.
Yeah, that is.
All right,
really
next one I call this building a bad reputation. This was after some of the tornadoes that went through Tennessee December, I think. Might have actually been late November. But one of the things the National Weather Service found as they were doing their inspections and follow-up to tornado strength is they found a number of homes that were just improperly secured to foundations, weren't built properly to code, and just builders that were taking shortcuts and not doing what they were supposed to have been doing
Man,
That's
to
so
secure
sad.
homes.
how did they get past the inspectors?
Oh, probably they're inspecting one
talks.
out of every
Yeah.
100 houses or something like
Jerks.
that.
Or don't look, or don't look and throw in the top,
Pictures. I had my roof redone a year and a half ago, and the roofer didn't do it right, but he sent pictures to the inspector, and the inspector approved it based on the roof, on the pictures.
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Not good.
Wow.
Oh.
That's what you got to do. All right, last one I've got to call this burning to die. You guys know there's been some
Whoa.
volcanic activity in
my
Iceland.
gosh.
Look at that, though.
See all those
That's
little
cool.
people that are just right on the edge of the lava, like just watching it, which would probably be us.
Why do I
We
feel
would
like
probably
my
do the
feet
same
are burning?
thing.
I'd have a marshmallow on a stick.
But that's
Whoa.
getting a little bit close, I think, to the lava flow. I don't know. There's probably lava tours going on right now. Who knows? But
I'm not gonna lie, Phil. I want to be one of those weather fools right there.
I know. Like
I
I
just
said,
worried that it would,
we're
like-
not afraid to throw ourselves under the bus.
I just be afraid it would like explode all of a sudden.
Yeah,
I'm
of course.
well,
Yeah.
like, that's
Like,
that's
you know, the
my
splatter.
concern. Like it's cool there while
And you
everything's
know it's-
calm, but
And you know it's gonna hurt, right? I mean, you're like,
Yeah.
this is bad.
Now,
gonna be a little
there is
not.
there is another way to look at this, though. Too, this is Iceland in the middle of the North Atlantic in January. It could be that they're just trying to keep warm.
Yeah.
fair.
True. Good point.
Snow on the ground and fire right in front of them.
Fair, man.
Well, thank you for those, Phil. I've got a few here myself, guys. And so this first one I think is kind of funny. We might have to watch it a couple times, but it's a cruise ship that is experiencing a bunch of flooding in one of these big storms. And there, as you hear the sound, people are like screaming and there's like, stuff going on. And then there's a lady on the treadmill doing it.
Oh my God.
This reminded me of that video of we talked about it last week. The weatherman on camera in a hurricane and the two guys walking in behind, and that's kind of what this reminded me of with the lady on the
Don't get in my
treadmill
way,
in the
people.
background.
Gotta get in my steps.
Gotta get it in. Get that workout.
Oh, that cracks me up.
I just love that she's on there. This next one, Phil, you're gonna love.
Jesus.
Turn around, don't drown. But listen, this one isn't even in close, right? Like I get the ones where maybe the wheels up to the hubcap, the water's up to the hubcaps or something. But this one, I mean, the
he's
nose
floating.
of now he's floating. He's floating.
And he kept going. He was going slow. Like he kept going down. So
I mean, the water was literally over the hood of the car. This
Well,
was
the truck
maybe
is
he thought
doing
that
it.
that
you know.
truck. But let's keep
Oh
going.
my god.
Oh my God.
Like, what are they?
It's ridiculous.
Good thing he's got the wipers on so he can see.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Oh God, I hope he doesn't get his insurance. Anyway, next up, MJ. So this one I thought was kind of fun.
I saw
Storm
this.
sends inflatable bear flying at music fest.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's better than
Nobody got hurt,
cows.
right? Oh man.
I don't know why that's amazing.
It's like a big inflatable gummy bear.
It was.
We've got cows.
And there were some injuries out of that. And how do you explain that one the next day at work? Right?
I had a gigantic pink bear knock me over and give me a concussion.
And they're like, "How
That-
much were you drinking?"
Look at that
Well,
stadium.
I was,
Pink
but
elephant.
still.
Wow. Seeing that bear tumble over the people though, I'm sorry that was funny.
And this one was also from Argentina. This was from Buenos Aires.
Whoops,
So
whoops.
Wow, they're bringing the weather fools.
they are bringing
Yeah.
the weather fools for sure.
No one was in that bear.
And let's see what we got next. So this next one I think is crazy. So this says dash cam shows the moment a driver gets caught in the F3 tornado. I don't think he got caught. I think he literally turned around to drive into
Oh,
the
Jesus.
tornado.
Looks that way.
Like I think if he
there
would have
goes
just
There goes the windshield.
like if he would have just kept driving in the direction he was going, I think he would have been driving away from the tornado, and all of a sudden now he's driving into it.
Okay,
And
he
this
was in
one-
that for a long time.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this
coming
was
out.
the
Maybe
one
he'll
I
turn around.
also had this one, Greg. And
Yeah.
it's definitely someone who saw that flash, the
Panicked.
transformer flash, and then just panicked, said, I don't want to go that way. Turned around not knowing what they're doing, and they basically drove right into the heart of the tornado.
Yeah,
by turning
absolutely.
I can't
around.
imagine they don't have flat tires either from driving over all that debris.
Oh, that vehicle's going to be a write-off. It would have
Yeah.
to be. I can't imagine the vehicle surviving that. So,
Well, if he's lucky, Reed Timmer's going to reach out and offer him a job.
I tell you, I'd want to hear that if Richard Pryor or Carlin were driving that car. That's what I want to hear.
Yep.
no kidding. This one is the classic weather fool. You've got a tornado bearing down. Now, clearly, there is something not good going on outside your door. So, what do? Don't
Go
seek
for it.
shelter. Let's get that phone camera and get that shaky footage of the tornado as it literally. Now, watch what happens. I thought maybe we missed it, but there was a quick flash of light, almost like a lightning strike, and then the camera quickly turned away. But you know what? Stay indoors. It's not worth the 30 seconds of video.
Oh, look at that condensation.
No, it's
Ooh,
not.
he's right there.
Yeah, we're all going, oh man, look at that.
I wish I was
Look
there.
at that.
And this one, right along the same vein, exactly the same situation. You can see some nasty. This is the one with the lightning flash. So you'll see there's the trees are waving and the debris flying around, and then all of a sudden it gets really bad. And then he stops filming the moment
the transformer goes.
Transformer blue or lightning strike or whatever. But watch how quickly this storm ramps up. Like, there's something going on here, but get to safety, get into the basement.
Look how fast everything disappears.
Yeah, it was like 3 seconds it disappeared.
I just love how he ended. Okay, time to go. Well, listen, that's all the weather fools. That's all the weather fools we have for this episode. Episode 201 show notes. Check them out, and I think you're gonna love them.
Now, this is the part of the show that's fun because nowadays everybody plays video games. So this is kind of like Weather Fools for video gamers. It's called Storm Chasers Gone Wild. And it's videos that we're going to show you of like storm chasing video games where they just drive their car into the tornado. Because why not? It's like flying a flight simulator, but you get to crash.
Exactly.
and live to tell about it.
And not get hurt. And then you get to relive, get a life back and get some energy or whatever you're going to do. So what do you got, Phil?
So this is kind of becoming a thing, right? There's more and more of these storm chasing video games coming out. And this one is using one of the most popular ones right now is through a game called Roblox that some of you might be familiar with. Roblox. My kids, I don't know if they play it anymore, used to play it, but it's called Twisted 1.2. And these guys are playing, this is OHWX's Gaming, Ohio Weather's Gaming Group. And they've got a TIV on the bridge, and the tornado comes while they're on the bridge.
Oh, while they're on the bridge. That's the best place to be.
And they're all hanging out trying to collect their data while they're in a tornado on a bridge.
Here we go.
Oh man.
It's impressive they even had a Dow drive by. This is a good one.
Well, they've got, so you'll see there goes the Dominator 3, just tipped, a couple Dominators just tipped over in the wind.
Oh, there goes one.
There goes the bridge.
210, 211.
Oh, he's calling out wind speed.
Oh, you could see the wind speed.
Oh, there it goes.
Oh.
And he goes off the bridge.
There's no way.
What do we get? No. Are you dead?
Are you dead?
Yes, I'm dead.
I can't swim.
That's a glitch.
The other thing you can do in these games is you can actually go to Walmart and, of course, get some chips like storm chasers do.
But can you get wiffle balls though and frisbees?
Yeah, that's a good question. Good question. But so they're just grabbing some junk food.
I'm glad it's in the video game where you can snack calorie free.
Oh, we got Dorothy's. Dorothy's.
Yeah, they got Dorothy's and Bill Red pickup trucks.
I'm getting pulled in.
And of course, they're getting right up next to the tornado.
Oh.
Okay,
Because
I'd play this one.
The fun part is you can play together with friends.
146.
So he's flipping over a few times because it's okay. You're not going to die in
Can
real
you
life.
imagine though when these graphics get even better?
Yeah.
Like how crazy that's gonna be.
And then so this is interesting because now they're in a cornfield.
That's a big wedge.
And they're spinning all over the place. And listen, because he tries to get out of the truck. Listen.
No, it put me back in the car.
Oh, you got out of the car.
There he goes. He's flying all over the place.
Oh wow.
So the fun things you can do with storm chasing video games. Good stuff.
My goodness.
It's always
Alan,
been
now you know what you can do.
Maybe that's your next goal there, Alan.
No, I'll go for the real one. Although I tell people I have never seen a tornado. And that's because whenever there's a tornado threat, I would have to go to work.
Yeah. Well, we do a trip every spring, Alan. We go out. We do a storm chasing trip on the plains. You're more than welcome to come out and join us.
No, absolutely. I will keep that in mind. I did do 2 chase trips on my own way back. It was mostly for photography, but it was awesome just to be out there and smell the cows and feel the wind. And
you just got to
cow stuff.
The first thing that cracked me up, I flew into Oklahoma. Oklahoma City was my first one. Driving west, I saw a tumbleweed, and I just laughed for like 10 minutes. I'd seen them on the Roadrunner cartoons, but I had never seen a real life tumbleweed. And it's like, wow, there it is. And I just kept laughing.
Oh my God.
All right, let's MJ, let's check.
Me a postcard, drop me a line.
You've got mail, baby, yeah.
All right, we got a full Freak fan box. We just got done with our 200th episode as well, but let me chime in on some of the letters and messages. Fuzzy Mickelson says, "Hey, it's hard to believe that I've been watching since 2017. One of the greatest weather podcasts ever. Congrats, guys. Here's to many more."
Thank you.
Wow. Thanks,
Fuzzy. Hunter Hurley, who I don't know if he's still on, but he was on earlier tonight, said, "One of my favorite episodes of Stormfront Freaks Live was the one featuring Vincent Ledvina with the the Aurora guy. As someone who's only gotten into Aurora chasing this year, and with my first time experiencing them in April, Vincent has been an individual I've always looked up to, and his amazing photos and knowledge of space weather. The questions asked this evening by the hosts were great, and overall, it's just an amazing episode."
Nice.
Very cool.
That was
that
great
his mom who wrote that?
Yeah. No, that was Hunter. All right. Logan Eskrich says, "Great podcast y'all doing. I'm a Red Cross disaster responder, so all the thanks in the world to y'all." Jason Kippa says, "Great episodes. Congratulations on 200. Cheers to another 200. We'll see you at the summit." We actually won't be at the summit. Jen Watson will be there. But when you get there, Jason, make sure you pick up one of our Twister trailer film cell keychains. We sent a bunch of those, so everybody in attendance will be able to get one of those. Alina Cooper says, "I was there from the very beginning of this episode to the very end." She's talking about 200. "This was amazing. I love this so much. And if you haven't already, I highly recommend checking out their podcast."
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Donna Knight says, "I watched it live. Great show. Glad you all could get together and have a great time. It was a lot of fun to watch. What a cool place, literally." And again, thanks to Serena, who got that door opened up for us, because Mount Washington was amazing.
It was
fun. It was a good time, man.
Carolina Weather Group, our friends over with their podcast, says, "Congratulations to the Stormfront Freaks for celebrating their 200th episode." And last, Brandon Montgomery says, "Hey, I watched it live. Great podcast, and appreciate the effort and coordination involved to make it happen atop Mount Washington." So,
thanks, everyone.
Very cool.
Yeah. So great stuff. We appreciate
have to talk
it.
about at some point, like the fun we had up there. Like we did all the interviews for the 200, but we're gonna have to recap for everybody some of the things we did and go over that.
It was fun.
Yeah,
it was a good time.
Yes, it was.
It was good. I still have my scab or my scar from the.
Oh yeah, how's your leg,
Phil? You're gonna have a chunk out of your knee for like ever. I think
it's gonna be there for a while. It was pretty deep. It was pretty deep. But go ahead and mention us on your next post. You might see it on our next episode as well. And I think that just about does it for this episode of Stormfront Freaks Live. So thanks for tuning in. Do us a favor, if you like the show, do 2 things for us. Number 1, follow us or like us or hit the subscribe button, whatever that is. So that helps us get found. But more importantly, if there's a good episode you really like, just copy and share it on your social media and just let people know you liked it. And that's one of the best ways for people to find out about our show. I also want to go around and with the Freaks, find out where people can find them. I'll start, Greg, with you and do us a favor and mention this new book you got.
Yeah, Tornado Greg on social media. You can, if you want to learn more about using your mirrorless or DSLR camera, you can check out cameraeasy.ca. That's my teaching website. And as Phil mentioned, I have a book coming out in March, number 4, and it's called Camera Canada. And again, it's all about this country that I live in up here north of the 49. So that's all about me. And love.
Phil,
and you love it.
Yeah. Greg, I'm just going to say your Camera Easy course, by the way, still goes down as one of the most fun and easy camera learning courses I've ever done.
Awesome. Thank
Love
you,
it.
guys.
Yeah, it was easy and dealt with my camera. I still go to this now, but that's not Greg's fault. It's not Greg's fault. I know you're disappointed. But Maz, how about you? Where can people find you?
Right. I'm on X at Money Storm, the number 4 and the letter U. Money Storm for you.
And if you wonder why Stormfront Freaks doesn't tag him on Twitter, it's because his account won't let me tag him so that he can't get tagged.
On purpose.
So
Knock it off.
Figured.
Did he block
I think
us?
I was blocked. Yeah, he might have blocked our account. I'm not sure. All right, Dina Knightley, what about you?
I'm Lady Pilot 70 on X and Threads and Instagram.
Do you actually use Threads?
Rarely.
Yeah.
Times.
I thought that might catch on, but it didn't, did it? Alan's like, nah, it didn't catch on.
It was a quick reaction.
with what he's doing with it. So
yeah.
You got to keep the Threads as in your back pocket.
Back up.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Back up.
When
Get your
X goes
account.
down.
Get your account name and just have it as a backup.
Yeah, because you never know what Musk is going to do.
All right, Weather Serena.
Yep, everything is WXCYRENA. Definitely on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, and Threads
And
is our.
Serena is very active. She's
very active
Has
on
good ones.
TikTok. I'm jealous of how good she's gotten at that. So
I have a good time on
And drunk
TikTok, man.
Steve.
It's fun. I do like 2 weather lessons a day on TikTok now. It's crazy.
All right, a special thanks to our guest tonight, Alan Seals. You were amazing. Thanks
Thank
for joining
you.
us. That was fun.
So great to meet you.
And our next episode, so we've got another first-timer coming on the show. Meteorologist and researcher Cameron Nixon of the Storm Prediction Center is going to be bringing his photograph knowledge to the freaks. We're going to be doing it all live Thursday, February 1st, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. Again, we'll be on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook with the audio podcast available that weekend. So I'm going to signal the all clear for Greg, Alan, Serena, Maz, and Dina. And, of course, we got MJ and Dan in the background. But we'll catch y'all next time. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you for tuning in to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. You can watch our bi-weekly show live on youtube.com/StormfrontFreaks and download the audio version on your favorite podcast player. For links to our Patreon team of exclusive benefits, show notes, past shows, new videos, merchandise, and more, visit our website at stormfrontfreaks.com. While you're there, check out our interactive chaser radar from our friends at zoomradar.com. If you'd like to contact us with questions or make comments about the show, shoot us an email to questions@stormfrontfreaks.com or follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Search for Stormfront Freaks. We'd love to hear from you. Join us next time and tell a friend about the Stormfront Freaks podcast.
Woo.
Awesome.
All right, Alan, thank you again. We appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much.
Good job.
Thank you.
So
And
great to have you
congratulations,
tonight.
Alan. What a great
I appreciate it. Yeah, invite me back another time. Be happy. To...
Definitely.
Totally. I'm gonna check out some of these books.
And Alan, we didn't dive into it in the conversation, but you said you're still teaching.
Yeah, so since I've been in Mobile, I've taught intro to broadcast meteorology.
Nice.
Last 24 years. In fact, in the market, 3 of my students are on air right now.
Oh, that's
in the
cool.
That's
Mobile market.
great.
Yeah.
That's
That's cool.
great.
Yeah.
Well,
So
welcome.
nice.
It's very cool.
So thank you for spending the time. We I do want to quick do the drawing. Otherwise, I I think that's it. But again, Alan, thanks. So the drawing is.
I'm out of here. Good
Okay,
night,
thank you.
Bye, Alan.
Good night,
Bye,
Alan.
Alan.
Thank you.
Have fun.
Thank you.
Good
Have
night.
fun. All right. So
He was such
so
a delight.
Yeah,
wasn't that fun?
What a nice
Yeah.
guy.
He
See
was
why
just delightful.
he's been on air so long.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do this drawing. So as a reminder for our Patreon VIPs and EF5 and Hurricane Levels tier folks. So this is Angela, Dan, Garrett, Alec, Grant, Jody, Lauren, Stacy, Steve, and Timothy.
This is for the car?
This, yeah. No.
A dominator.
So this is the Greg donated. This is our 200th episode package. So Greg donated some Tornado Hunter gear and mug. Serena donated her book signed by Pecos Hank, Reed Timmer, Janice Dean, and Serena. It's coming with the Got Wind Mount Washington sticker and the Midland donated emergency crank radio. And so I've got a randomizer of 1 through 10.
Okay.
Because we have 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
And so, number 8. And so number 8 on the list was 10, 9, 8. Stacy Fincher.
Woo!
So Stacy Fincher. Congratulations.
All right, Stacey.
That's the face Dan makes when he doesn't win. Right there. That's the Dan didn't win face right there.
That could still be the face Dan when Dan does win.
That's true.
That's true too. That is true.
I'm gonna practice.
That's my normal face.
That's just my face.
It's just my face.
Okay. Anyway, great job, guys. You had great questions and brought the weather fools and all that good stuff. And
guys, I got to run. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say sorry. I like out of the last 5 shows or so, I think 3 or 4 of them I have froze going into Weather Fools. I don't know if it's the videos that play going into it. I'm gonna have to experiment with that. But I think
Are you
that
nervous?
has happened.
Are you nervous?
Yes, it is nerve.
He got
It's a
scared.
bit nerve wracking at that point, but
I don't
We talked
know what
through
to do
it.
with
It was
my
fine.
hands. Yeah.
It
worked
with you,
fine.
Bobby.
Yeah,
No, I
good
think we
job.
talked through it fine. I mean, I feel like it was all right. So
I just had a
no
problem
sweat.
figuring out where you were at when I came back, but I figured it out eventually.
Yeah, it was good.
So, Greg, you got to go.
Dino is really quite good though, MJ. She was like,
I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. Yeah.
She was stretching
that
out.
And then these guys are walking and they're pushing the
1 minute.
snow with their feet.
Minute 30.
And I was looking for her email because I'm like, oh shit, I'll find it and add it.
Yeah, 'cause
and I
I
couldn't
did
find
used
it.
to
I'm
do
like,
that.
did I trash it? What did I do with her email?
You know, I
She
almost
sent it a
said
long time
I had
ago.
them up just
Yeah.
in case. I could have shared, but I didn't want to step on the feed if you were going to come up with
Yeah.
it. But I mean,
No,
I
I
knew
know.
what they were. So
It was good. We figured,
worked.
and it was great
Yeah.
storytelling.
I
Which we have.
suspect-
It's podcasts. That was good
We have
for
to
the
do
podcast.
anyway.
I suspect in the audio version, no one will even pick up on that.
No,
No.
I'm sure
I
they
agree
won't.
with you
No,
completely.
no.
Yeah.
No.
No,
Okay,
I think
gotta
I
run,
did
guys.
make a comment, which MJ you can cut out where I think I
may
said,
see if
"Oh,
I can,
we
yeah.
lost MJ, so just keep talking about it." Or,
Yeah.
but all right,
Cheers,
Greg,
guys.
see you,
Bye,
buddy.
Greg.
Bye-bye.
Hey, buddy.
Bye.
Bye, girls.
Let's end the stream.
Oh yeah, and it
Bye,
got
everybody.